Welcome, everybody, to the SAG-AFTRA podcast. I'm Gabrielle Carteris, president of SAG-AFTRA.
And I am David White, National Executive Director of SAG-AFTRA.
And on today's episode, I know, hey. Social media influencers, superstars on digital platforms such as YouTube and Instagram with tens of millions of followers. I want to say that again. Tens of millions of followers. We are here with two of the biggest influencers out there, Amanda Cerny and DeStorm Power.
Yes.
Hey.
Fantastic. Welcome.
Thanks.
It's an honor for us to be here. Both of these terrific individuals who are joining us today are co-founders of Zeus, a subscription-based video-on-demand service which produces original content. And I'm very pleased to say that SAG-AFTRA recently inked an agreement with Zeus to provide coverage for content produced by Zeus, and it provides a pathway to membership into SAG-AFTRA as well for Zeus content creators. And this is one of the things we're going to talk about. It's very interesting.
Awesome. I first want to introduce, before anything, starting here with our fabulous Amanda Cerny, over 35 million followers.
Wow.
I know, right? Over 35 million followers across YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. She is an actress, a writer. Just listen to the list. Yeah. Writer, producer, chart-topping pop star, and a dancer. I know she's like fluffing it all up. Her show, A Taste of Dance with Amanda Cerny, airs exclusively on Zeus. Want to welcome you. You are truly a Renaissance woman. So
absolutely.
Thank you.
She is sitting right next to a Renaissance man, Mr. DeStorm Power, an Emmy-nominated actor, a musician, a comedian, a YouTube personality, and originator of the catchphrase, "What's up, world?"
What's up, world?
What's up, world?
Yeah, I got to give him some royalties for that.
Exactly. He's a creator and a star in the Zeus series Caught, which earned him the 2018 nomination for Outstanding Actor in a Short-Form Comedy. Welcome to you both.
Hey,
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
I just have to say this, and we were joking, but when I started trying to do the Facebook Live, Instagram Live, and clearly I'm so not that social media person, I'm trying. You guys are actually creating a whole new universe out there, supporting and developing it, and I think that's amazing. How did you even get to start into what you're doing? I mean, how did you, we can start with Amanda.
Your origin story.
Yeah, just where it started.
Well, we have the same exact story. No,
I was going to say that's
completely different.
Exactly the same.
We look alike, we talk alike, it's okay.
For me, I started it because I wanted to do more acting, and every time I would meet with an agent or a manager in LA, they would tell me I needed a reel, and I was like, all right, how do I get a reel if I don't have a job, and how does that work? And then one of my friends did YouTube, Jimmy Tatro, and I was like, hey, anytime you need an actress for any of your stuff, I'm trying to build a reel, so I'm always available. And then so I would do a lot of stuff with him, and then he went out of town to shoot, I think it was 22 Jump Street. Mm-hmm. And he was like, there's this new app called Vine. You should try it out, because I told him I wanted to make my own videos too, but I had no idea how to edit, no idea how to do anything really. So I had to learn it all. He's like, Vine is great. It's a simple platform. You'll be able to do storytelling on there and just start with that. So I was like, okay. So I went and I started using Vine, and then he introduced me to Batch, introduced me to DeStorm. Like, I met everybody through there, and then we were all just creating on Vine. But
what do you mean when you say you were meeting through there? You were sharing your stories, but then you were also communicating with each other through it?
Well, yeah, it's like
we're like creating together, right?
Yeah. Collaborating. It became a community of its own, because everybody was from different places just making content on Vine. So Vine, if you don't know, is these 6-second comedic sketches that you would put, and you're like, 6 seconds, that's so short. But yeah, we would like kill for that 0.5 extra seconds that we could get. God. Yeah, that was like the gold. Battle. But at the time, it was a great platform and great content for, you know, what the internet needed, I guess. So we were just doing that, and through that, we had like the top 100 creators on Vine, and everybody kind of knew each other. I was already out in LA, and there was a few others that were too. DeStorm, you were too, right?
I was in LA.
Yeah. And then slowly the people that we started to see on the popular page all the time on Vine, everybody started coming out to LA more to collaborate, from like Ohio, from Florida,
Detroit,
from
Miami.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah.
So everybody started coming out here. And then people ended up moving out here. And then a lot of people were like, all right, where should I move? And Batch, our friend, who's also a part of Zeus, lived at 1600 Vine. And he was like, oh, just move into this building, and it's a great building.
And
And
everybody lived in 1600
Yeah.
Vine.
Are you kidding? That's
Yeah.
very funny.
it was super ironic. It wasn't like planned or anything. Let's live
It was
on
like
Vine
Melrose
Street.
Place.
Yeah.
Oh, you're too young to
Exactly.
know that.
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
It was, yeah.
Amanda, where'd you grow up?
In Florida.
And when did you come out to LA, and did you come out here because you wanted to actually act, or were you coming out here to do other things, or explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so for me, I was at college at Florida State, and in Florida, we have this awesome thing called dual enrollment. So in high school, we were able to do college level classes and get high school credit and college credit for them. And then on top of Bright Futures too, which like scholarships. So by the time I actually went to college, I had my AA degree already. And then I went to UCF for a year. And then I went to Florida State afterwards, just because I wanted the more like college experience. But when I was at Florida State at the time, like there was two friends from my hometown, and they were like, "Oh, there's a girl from our hometown that was a Playmate centerfold. You should do that too." And I'm like, "Huh, no."
Yeah, people say it to me all the time.
Yeah. I'm like, no way. Like so random. Then the Girls Next Door was on at the time. I used to watch that show all the time. I think it was on E, right? I was bored in my dorm, so I was like, all right, let me just see what Playmates are. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. So I just ended up sending bikini photos I had from Florida to the email address on the website. And I was like, yeah, nothing's going to happen. And then they emailed back the next day and were like, all right, we want to fly you out to California for a test shoot.
In one day?
Yeah, the next day they emailed me back.
That's crazy.
I was like, oh, right, free trip to California. I get to go and see the Playboy Mansion. Awesome. So for me, I just flew out there, borrowed a bunch of clothes. I had to pay for everything growing up. So for me, this is like an epic moment. I think for most people it would be. So I went there, went to all the Hollywood parties and stuff while in town for like a week, and then went back to Florida State. And I was like, all right, they're not going to choose me though. And then a few months later, they called me back and they're like, all right, have approved your centerfold. You're going to be a Playmate for October 2011. And I was going to school for business. Like I probably was aiming towards like a government job. I randomly wanted to be in the CIA. I know it's like crazy, but I was like on this track, and that kind of derailed it a little bit. Got lectured by my dad, of course. Parents are divorced. My mom was like, woo! And then
Your dad's going, my friends are going to be looking at that.
yeah, exactly. And then I moved down to Miami because I was like, all right, you know, I always have fun being on camera and stuff, so I don't want to do anything with modeling. Check that off the bucket list. That's the most I could ever do as a centerfold. So I was like, all right, I'm going to study acting in Miami. So I started studying acting down there. Miami was very limited with the amount of actual acting jobs. I think I was like a featured extra on Pain and Gain. And that was like the most I did in Miami, which was cool to be on the sets and stuff. But then I was like doing live EDM event hosting in Miami, and creatively it was limiting for me. So I was like, all right, I'm going to move out to LA, just make the move. I've been there. I have friends out there. I'm just going to go and pursue that. So then I moved out to LA for the acting, and then was meeting with all those talent. I didn't even know the difference between an agent and a manager.
Sure.
No idea. And then I
Most
figured,
people don't.
They still don't, right? I was going to say, it doesn't.
But yeah, then I came out to LA and then focusing on acting, and then that whole story with the social media stuff, which made everybody interested.
DeStorm,
Interesting.
I mean, it is. It's such an interesting path. And where are you from, DeStorm? And tell us what your origins.
I was born in Virginia. Grew up in Baltimore City in The Wire, and from there I moved to New York when I was 18. So that's
By yourself you went?
I went by myself. Yeah.
And what were you doing? Tell a little bit of your story, because not everybody knows. And it's really a phenomenal story.
I started out in the music business, and I was doing drops for DJs back in Maryland because I wanted to get into music. I was singing backup, trying to be, we were singing in malls with like old school groups like Drew Hill, they're old school now, and things like that. And I wanted to get into music as a singer, and that wasn't working out, so I wanted to get into music as a rapper. And I told my my girlfriend at the time and my mother, she was like, why don't you just go to New York and see if you can make it there? If you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. So when I turned 18, I packed up my little Eclipse and I literally just drove to New York from Maryland because I was doing all these drops and I wasn't getting the attention. And I was on an app called SoundClick at the time. So then when I arrived to New York, I started working in the mailroom at Bad Boy. I was working at Bad Boy, which is called Daddy's House. And then from there, I got an opportunity to write for a few artists. So I went over to J Records, and I worked at J Records. Then I eventually moved to Atlantic Records. I met Whitney Houston at the time. I ended up writing for like Trey Songz and a lot of other artists in the business. But then I still wanted to do my own music. But there wasn't a lot of money in the music as a writer because, you know, you had these huge writers like Neo, and he was covering everything. So all the smaller writers wasn't getting a lot of money. So I was like, well, how can I be different from these guys and make some money? So at the time, again, track and field is not like basketball or football. You don't get a lot of money unless you're like at the top. You got to be at the top of your game. And I was a professional runner, but I was ranking like 5th or 7th, you know, and you got the best in the nation just smoking. You don't get the check. You just get an award. So I got a lot of medals, but no money.
Right.
So I'm like,
can't live with that.
I can't eat off of medals.
Right.
So anyway, my mother was like, why don't you just come back home? So eventually I was like, no, I can't do it, because she was still living in a 1-bedroom apartment with my 4 sisters. So eventually I was like homeless in New York, and I'm sleeping in subway stations. I'm like, wow, I'm a homeless person.
With all your awards.
With all these medals. So I'm like, wow, I'm literally like with nothing here. I was like, because I'm not going back to Baltimore. So I said I'm going to, I got onto YouTube, and I started doing fitness videos, because I said there's no money in music, I'll become a personal trainer. So I studied, and I got my NASM, my ACSM, my ACE, and all of the certifications to become a personal trainer. So I became a personal trainer, started working at Crunch Fitness, eventually going to New York Sports Club and sleeping like in their like basement or whatever. And then kind of
Did they know?
No, they didn't know, because I washed up in Macy's. They didn't know
Right.
what was going on. Eventually, I started getting checks, so I was able to get an apartment. So I had an apartment in New York, and I started to put fitness videos on YouTube, on MySpace first. But then I had this older client. She
Tell
said,
them MySpace, which right? Isn't that like a blast from the past?
Right, so MySpace
Yeah.
was my first like platform of doing videos.
That was great for music.
Yeah, and it was good for music too, because I could put my songs in
Right.
my videos. So I was putting my own music in the fitness videos and tricking people. Like it was like, oh, this song's good, I gotta go download it. So well, not download it, was stream it. They were trying to find it on, it was like Kazaa and LimeWire or something like that. And from there, I was putting the music in the fitness videos, and then one of my older clients, he said, I can't log into MySpace. I don't understand it. So I found a free platform in 2006. It was called YouTube. You could put videos on YouTube for free. So I got on YouTube in 2006, and I put like a lot of fitness videos, and they went viral. I was like, oh my God, 1,000 views on the video, which was a lot.
Wait, I have to say 1,000 is
Oh my God.
considered viral. That's amazing,
It was
right?
super viral back then.
That's
And I was like,
amazing.
someone from Germany? Then it was like, you're funny, man. And it was like, you should do something with your personality. So I became a YouTuber, and I started to study other YouTubers at the time. It wasn't a lot. It was like Timothy Ghetto, Phil DeFranco, you know, it was like a lot of really old school YouTube cats. And I became like one of the first guys on YouTube, you know, and it was a lot of hate, because it was mostly Asians. And then white folks, then black folks, but Asians like ran the whole YouTube at the time. Yeah, it was.
That
huge.
is really interesting.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by haters? What is
Oh my! Because it's like it was taboo to put a video online on the internet for people to watch it. They was like, "What are you doing? You're weird." My girlfriend dumped me. She was like, "You're putting videos online, people watching you on the internet. You're weird. I can't be with you." I was like,
you know now what you're saying?
I know.
He was a visionary. I was wrong.
Yeah. I got her a job, so she's happy.
Did you see something different that was coming down the pike, or were you just being defiant, or were you just...
No, it was different because I was reaching so many people so fast. And I used to walk in the back of labels and give demos out and stuff. And I was on the streets hustling and stuff, like back when it was cool to do a demo on the street. These days, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But,
I was like,
no, this was back when it was the only way to do it, when people
Yeah.
sold things out their trunk and stuff. So, but then to see me reach so many people so fast, I said, this is going to be the next wave. And I knew this like back in like 06, 07. I was like, this is going to be huge. And no one believed me. I was like, look, baby, you just got to stick with me. It's going to be fine. She was like, no. And then I got my first check from Google, and it was for like $8. I was like, I got an $8 check.
Wait,
Google
so tell me,
said-
talk about that first thing, because you know you talk about the whole thing with influencers, right? First of all, just to say in a short way what an influencer really is, right? How does that first check? Did you even know they paid for it?
They didn't start until I think like 08, 09. Giving money until then. Because you had to become an influencer at the time, you had to meet certain standards on YouTube. They changed it. You had to have a certain amount of subscribers, you had to get a certain amount of traffic, and you had to have a certain amount of posts per week or something like that. You had to have these 3.
And did you know that?
I knew that, yeah, because
okay.
they told you, and the biggest thing at the time was like almost like a verification on Instagram is now. It's like to be verified on YouTube, or to be a person who can get ads ran on your videos with those small ads, you had to do these 3 things. So we would grind out for a whole year. Like, I got to figure out how to get these ads on my videos. And then I almost given up. And so I lost my mom to cancer, and
Sorry to hear that.
so when she passed, I went crazy and locked myself in the house for literally a year. And I said, I'm going to get these ads on my YouTube videos. So I grinded on for about a year, and then eventually I got it. And then we went out and celebrated. And it was, I had, I think, like 8,000 subscribers or something. Not even. It was like 7,000. And for all my friends, we went, it was a big thing back then, you know, to actually to do it. And so we went out, and I think Donald Glover was on there, and he had got.
He was doing his.
Yeah, he was on YouTube at the
Yeah.
time, so he was another, pioneer, like back in the day. Now he's Childish Gambino, people who don't know.
Right.
Two things. One, there's real genius in what both of you are describing as your early decisions, your early steps to position you, whether you realized it or not. As you think about telling stories and giving advice to people who are trying to get in it now, you had already gotten your AA degree by the time you finished high school. Very unique. You saw something in this new platform, and you used your fitness in something that was arguably not allowing you to succeed. You're spending all this time and getting awards, and then you transition that into something where people heard your music and they saw your comedy, et cetera. Is that the way to do it now? Is that how you would describe doing it now? That's my first question.
I would say it's just knowing what you want to do too. Like there's so many kids that come up and then they're like, I want to be famous or I want to have followers. I'm like, for what though? Like, what do you want to do? And I think it's like finding whatever you're passionate about or whatever you're interested in. For me, it was acting. So I wanted just to do more of that. But I noticed like the comedy sketches were the things that went the most viral or lightened people's day or had very positive responses to. So I really focused on that, and I still do. But I'm able to do a lot of acting with it and have my own creative ideas and even write my scripts now and direct them and do all this stuff that, I probably would have not had the opportunity to do if it wasn't for the internet, because Hollywood usually chooses you, but I kind of flipped it to where the people were able to choose who they wanted to see, which was, I think, really cool. I think it's first knowing what you want to do, what you're passionate about, like what you would want to do with that platform, and then not following trends and just being like, oh, okay, vloggers are really big, so I'm just going to vlog even though I don't really care about it, or what people are going to see right through that.
Yeah, they could tell.
Right.
Yeah.
They could tell. They could tell off rip if it's something that you genuinely want to do. Like, I still just enjoy what I do. That's why I get up every day, because with all the hate that you get and things like that, or just the amount of work. I mean, I've had about 30 jobs, from everything from construction to telemarketing to security. And this is the hardest job, because not only does it require just physically going out there and doing it, but just mentally creating every day. So to have
It's
to
such a discipline. It's
right,
amazing.
something new. It's very, very, very difficult to do. And a lot of people don't see it. They're like, oh, you just putting a video up on. I'm like, you don't understand. We got to create something new and then please millions of people every day for years.
And keep it authentic, right?
keep
That's
it
what you're
and-
saying. It
and
has to be, that's the
to
challenge.
yourself. It's not like
Right.
you can just copy something someone else done, because they can tell, oh, you got that from such and such and so and so. So you have to keep coming up with ideas. Your brain is tired,
Then do you have a team that works with you? Do you ultimately, you started off by yourself, but now do you have a team that's there, or?
I think everyone has a circle or a crew that they work with, or people that you mesh with and you work well with and you just make heat with, and it's like one universal community, and then you find little pods that you travel through, but you have like your own pod of people that you work with, and sometimes people get a whole production crew with them.
Yeah, I think initially everybody kind of started out on their own. We were filming, and still sometimes I filmed one yesterday on my phone. But just for social media, especially for Instagram, content is consumed so much, and like people forget the next day of what you posted the day before. So you just have to sometimes not have as highly produced content on, say, Instagram. But for me, I was filming on my phone, editing on iMovie, and then I learned how to edit on Premiere. And then when I'm doing bigger projects now, a lot of times I'll even edit it still. But then I'm able to outsource things now too, just because time management also, it's like me wearing all hats doesn't always make the most sense for everything that I want to do. And I'm able to do that now, but in the beginning it was all me.
It sounds like it's 24/7, 365. How do you not get exhausted when you are at the level of success that you're at?
I think for me, when I get when I do get exhausted, I take time off. Because one thing, like Amanda was saying, you wear so many hats. Being an influencer, you learn so many things. You learn to be a producer, a director, a writer. You learn to edit. Like she said, she's even as successful as she is now, and I am now, we still edit our own videos. So when you get tired of repeating, I was like, I'm going to go direct something. Or I'm going to go write something. Or I'm going to go. So you have.
Does your audience miss you, though, when you go?
They do, but your catalog is so big and your audience continues to grow so much. Like, for example, if I get 1 million followers, like in the last 6 months or last year, they haven't seen stuff from 3 years ago. So I can just run a whole line of content for them, and they don't even know that it's from 3 years ago because they've never seen it. So you have because we produce so much content in bulk and volume that we can put. Like last year, I didn't make any new content at all because we started Zeus. And when that happened, I put up content from January through December was all old content, but the audience thought it was new.
Yeah, the reaction. Even the people that already saw it probably are like, this is great.
This is great. We don't even know. Because you have so much.
I just want everybody to hear this. I'm just stunned when I'm listening to this. So when you first started, 1,000 followers. I want you to be able to hear this back. And now you're saying 1 million followers.
Yeah.
That is a mind blow, right?
It is. It's wow. But then you see people with like tens of millions. I'm like, wow, damn, Amanda. You know, like, so it is mind blowing to see how big it's become. Because when I started out, like 90% of people consumed their content through the computer, the laptop, or the television, right? And now, when I look at my insights now, it says 93% are looking through their cell phone. So I'm like, wow. So now I got to kind of cater to that audience and then transition to the smaller screen and find out where they're going. So we're just following where the audience is going helps a lot.
Is there a difference between the smaller, because you're saying there is, and maybe you can talk a little bit about this. I think that there's people who are listening who really aspire to the idea of being an influencer, to understand what that is. And so you started without having brands supporting you, and then you're developing now, producing, directing, doing all this stuff. You're seeing the transition, like you're talking from big screen to small screen. What is the difference in how you do your work when you're doing that? Is there a time difference on that? And how do you touch the different, Instagram is different than tweeting, doing all the different, you guys know it all much more than clearly I do. So how do you cater the projects that you do? Do you focus in one place and then edit it for smaller pieces or
production?
Well, I think there's one thing people have to understand is every platform has its format. You can't create a YouTube video and expect it to do super well on Instagram, or you can't do, or vice versa. YouTube is its own entity. Facebook, Twitter, everything has its thing, and a lot of times where a lot of companies and conglomerates fail is they'll come in and they'll have like one piece of content and say, oh, we'll just chop a minute for Instagram, but it doesn't work because it wasn't created for Instagram. So you have to understand the attention span of the people also. When you're looking at specific platforms, for example, YouTube's attention span is a lot longer than the attention span of somebody for Instagram. So when you're creating things, you have, just like if a lot of your followers came from Vine and they were used to 6 seconds, you can't throw them into a minute. You have to spoon feed them and give them 15 seconds, then maybe 30, then maybe 45 to a minute, So, and a lot of people who did come from Vine, not us, but a lot of people who did, they were still, they thought they could just jump straight to a minute, and they lost that audience because their attention span was used to that really, really quick content. So I think that's something a lot of people didn't consider when they did the transition.
I think that's where I first saw the traditional world not really fully understanding social media yet. And I'm sure like a lot more people understand now than say even like 2 years ago. But when I would work with editors to do things for Instagram edits, it just felt too dragged out. And it's funny because like on Instagram, it's like boom, 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 so much information. But that's what people want on there. Otherwise, they're just going to
swipe through.
Yeah, right. Be like keep going past it. So it is different content for every single different platform. Like anytime I get a traditional, I don't even know if you call it that anymore, because like the Zeuses of the world,
right.
Or the Netflix and
Hulu, Amazon,
HBO, they are already merging the two. So it's like celebrities that come up from Netflix, like these actors that come up from Netflix, they're now on social media with a massive following just because it's easy to transition on your computer to go and follow that person on there. So it relates really closely, and now you see celebrities doing it and everybody doing it. But anytime I get traditional work for acting and where there's a director on set, there's a producer, there's lighting, there's videographers, I only have to focus on acting, and it is
So different.
yeah, it's so easy.
So easy.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
like,
easy,
yeah.
but I would say
Well, not I
In
would,
comparison.
it's fluid. It's
in com-
great.
in
Yeah.
comparison
comparison.
to having
Your
to have
mind
to
is
run
on
behind
one
the
thing,
camera
so-
and then fix the audio and then do this, then you only get to focus on acting. Like I sometimes get bored. I'm like, I don't have anything to do.
You're in your trailer,
Like, oh my God, I get time off.
That's funny. It's almost like relaxing. Can I ask a question about brands? Because I told you, I had young girls, and they're very into the YouTube world. They love you guys. Really are major followers to this stuff. And the one thing is that one of my daughters got really into doing the social media stuff is that, and I think this is important, you might be approached by a company. How do you know if it's a good company and up and up? Because I think there's a lot of scamming going on as a result of people now doing more and more social media.
Yeah, because I used to handle all of my brand deals, everything until just recently. Like I finally got this amazing new manager. I love her to death. She's so intelligent. She's amazing. So I'm so happy with her. It's like a new marriage. But I would always first look at the email address where it came in from. If it was like a business or if it was a Gmail, I would normally just delete it. I know some people have Gmails, but I'm like, too risky to delete. And then I would never click on the links in the emails as well, because usually that either hacks people or gets your password, or it's like a little sketchy there too. So I would always just Google what it was, the people that work there, the actual email address on the website where it's coming from. So if it's legit in that way. And then I would ask around too, if they ever say they've worked with other people, I would either if I don't know them, DM them, or I would ask
or call the person. Someone
Yeah.
had sent me a deal the other day and they said, well, we work with Amanda. I said, they don't know I know Amanda.
That's
Amanda,
right.
did you work with these people?
no.
And you had not?
Yeah, she
No.
said no, so I just said I'm not dealing with it.
Yeah.
So,
See, people out there, that's the thing, what you guys are doing, because it's groundbreaking, but it's also everybody wants to be on board with that. So these are really important.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of brands even found their, grew because of social media. There's so many brands that started because of Facebook and the way the algorithm works. And they were like, all right, let's build all these brands off of Facebook. And they became millionaires from...
Fashion Nova.
Yeah. That's great example.
Yeah.
That's billionaires, right?
Yeah, billionaires now.
Yeah.
So talk about Zeus.
And just to set that up a little bit, so you all have been at this game for a little while now and reached out and realized that when you're thinking about the arc of a career, that it makes sense to have power over your platform. And you also built a partnership with us, with SAG-AFTRA. So it would be very interesting to hear your views on that.
Yeah. I mean, for us, it was kind of a no-brainer to create something like this because, one, we noticed a lot of influencers needed the help in creating content. So Zeus is an SVOD platform. So we have all these series on the platform that we are more so greenlighting creators than we are the full concept. We'll go into the concept afterwards and make sure it's great. But we see people are doing really well online, or even if they're traditional actors, but have this creative idea they've always wanted to do. They just didn't have the production for it. They didn't have the
team to get it done, or a platform to put it. Sometimes it's more of a risky project than a specific platform or network would want to take on. So we was like, we'll take on some of these projects that we believe in and put it out there. Plus, a lot of the content is shorter form. We're moving to a longer form, because they're just like, we need more.
Yeah.
It's
always
always
define shorter term.
It's
What's
a good
shorter
problem.
term?
What's short, what's long?
Yeah.
It's short is 30 and under. And
30 minutes.
30 under 30, and then I think longer form will be 30 and above.
Okay, so that's pretty traditional definition. Okay.
Right, yeah.
And when you guys talk about, people who have interest in doing things but that they don't have maybe access or understanding, and so you have Zeus here, is it also then a think tank?
Yeah, we do that with different creators. A lot of them have very specific ideas that they want to do, and they pitch it to us. They let us know what it is, and then from there it can go into production and we'll help facilitate everything. And some just come and they're like, I want to do something, and then we'll help put the whole team together of whether it's writers or directors and just make it come true.
Is there a project that you've rejected, or someone who's come in and you've decided you don't want to work with that person, and if so, why?
Yeah, probably like 50% of the projects that came in, we had to, because it was just so much. It was such a big outreach, and not because they were bad projects, but just in specific, we just couldn't cover all. Monetarily, financially, it was just a lot of projects coming in.
Yeah.
So with this,
in the
all
beginning.
those coming in, then what's the standout? What's the one what's the difference? Two projects come in, and let's assume that they have talent. What would be the outlier?
I think it's something that everybody's just excited about. Obviously, people have different tastes in content, but if you're able to have a creative mind and be open to things, you could see it working or it not, and understanding the platform too.
Also, them being passionate about it and wanting
Yeah.
to actually promote it, because a lot of the projects that we started with,
That's huge,
they
yeah.
had platforms also. So we wanted them to be able to promote to their audience, so that we can have subscribers come to Zeus and watch the content. So we won't have to have so much legwork to do. So having those creators come in and be so excited about their project, because there were creators that we brought on that didn't promote as much as we thought that they would. So it's like, the ones who are super passionate about it and talented and bringing on that content, it's like, oh, that's a no-brainer.
When you started, all of you, all the co-founders, were very careful about describing Zeus as an additive platform, not one that was attempting to cannibalize other platforms. Do you still feel that way? And how would you describe distinguishing features of Zeus? Why am I going to Zeus rather than to a different platform?
Well, I think so. I think because the younger audience are used to the type of content we do, and it still has that same underline of what we do as influencers, because when you go there, you know that it's more influencer based. You can feel it by the way the content is edited, cut, just the ideas alone are so left field. So they're like, oh, I still feel it, but it's just more produced. It's more, you can tell it's just a much bigger budget with a longer form, but at the same time, you still feel the underline of the things they fell in love with, maybe on YouTube, Instagram, or a place where they found their creators that they loved in the first place.
Yeah, and it even more organized.
And a lot more organized.
Yeah, you're able to get episodes too, and
Right.
that's what a lot of people ask for online also. But even for me, like if I put out a piece of content that's a minute long or 3 minutes long or 5, whatever, that people love, I'd be like, oh, I'd love to do a part 2 of that. But my mind right now is so over here and here and here and here that I don't have time to do that right now. So you're not really able to give them everything that they want. But with Zeus,
We serialize it, yeah.
yeah, it makes it possible.
We were thrilled to partner with Zeus and went out of our way to make sure that we were as open and flexible as possible with our contracts, because we think everybody should have access to health care and retirement plans and safe working conditions, et cetera. Could you talk a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, and even when I first moved out to LA, I was like, I want to be a part of SAG-AFTRA. Like, and that was like one thing that I wanted that gave me a legitimacy as an actor too, and protected me as well. So I was able to get that through working with like Comedy Central or like traditional platforms, like doing different films. But a lot of influencers, all they do every day is social media. So they don't have
Access.
the ability to become SAG eligible, or so for us to be able to make it so our shows are partnered with SAG-AFTRA, then we're able to give them an opportunity to be more protected, to have access to health care. So we're able to do a lot more that there's really no other way they'd be able to get it. Just because Zeus is a platform where it's merging influencers with more traditional content in the sense that it's more organized and you have series of content, so it works with their schedule and they're able to do it. And then with that, they're able to become SAG eligible too.
And they get to work with traditional, actors, because there's a lot of times where I wanted to do a project coming up, in the last, 5 years where I couldn't work with an individual. I could have, but it would have been a lot more of a headache because I wasn't, SAG-AFTRA at the time. And I'm like, I wish I could just get these, how can I do it? So I'm waiting in these lines. I'm going to these auditions. It's taking so much of my time to get it done. I'm like, I know I have the talent to do it. I just can't figure it out. Then I never had answers. I didn't know you guys. I would have hit your phone. But I didn't know you.
Right.
So it's like you have to go through the grind and you're trying to figure it all out. I'm like, I just want to work with this person or that person. So unless ABC, NBC calls you or something like that. For example, I did a video with Tay Diggs years ago. And it was like a lot because he was SAG and I wasn't. So they was like, how are we going to make this work? So now having Zeus around and partner with SAG-AFTRA, this is a thing that we can come together and do so people won't have to go through what I went through because it was hell.
Well, first of all, it's so meaningful. I have to say this because, you're talking about traditional, like being able to have the opportunity to be with traditional. The truth is, and I said this just when we started, you guys are actually setting the universe up in a whole different way. So traditional, it's there, but the most important thing is for anybody who's in front of the camera, behind the mic, to have the protections. You guys were talking earlier about the sense of community when you came out and how you started, communicating with people in Ohio or whatever. That's the idea of the union anyway, right? It's a sense of community so we're not alone because it's so hard to do it alone. But you really are setting a really high bar and actually opening the door for all the young people who are not just looking to be on the traditional television or film work.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the future. What do you see as the vision of Zeus? Do you want that to grow exponentially? Is that going to stay premium content? Give a little bit about that. And for the two of you, what's next?
I think with Zeus, one thing we are looking to do is to lengthen the content because the audience are crying out, just saying like, we want to get more. So we're going to just try and bring more, get some flagship series that people can really believe in, make sure the budgets are getting bigger as the company grows and continue to give them bigger flagship series. We have 2 new series that are coming along from 2 really big creators also, and they're going to be done very well. We actually go into production this week. So that's exciting. So just moving forward, I think, the all-out plan is just to get more content because that's what content is king. People want more content.
But more doesn't necessarily mean just more projects. You're saying also longer. So you're coming back into that, again, I guess, traditional cycle in a way, creating the longer project.
I think it's also just listening to your audience, too. Like with social media, we're lucky to be able to get immediate feedback on how people feel about the platform, like how they feel about the series, especially when advertising different series and stuff and marketing it through, say, Instagram. And with that, always listening to your audience. And I think this is why we were able to grow so much. And, obviously there's haters and stuff online. That's a whole other topic. But actually legitimate comments and responses to things. And if people are asking for more series or longer series, we'll do that. Like, that's what we're here for, is to give the people what they want. We're not here to force feed things. And
I think for us, especially as an influencer and creator, you have to understand, the audience has to grow with you. So if they're asking for longer, you give them longer. If they're used to shorter, they're like, okay, we got shorter, now we want to see you do longer. That's the dream for any influencer. It's like, oh, you want to see more of me? Okay, I'll give you longer. So that's it's one of those things where you have to start out where they know and then eventually have them grow with you so that you can stay together. It's like it's a marriage with you and your fans,
yeah.
How's the growth of Zeus been?
It's been doing great. I think it's one of the fastest growing platforms, SVOD platforms of all times, from what I hear. In our short period of time that we've grown, I mean, we've been out for how many months now? Not even 6 months yet. It'll be 6 months
6
on the
or 7.
13th. For the amount of time. I mean, we're definitely not Netflix or Hulu, but for the amount of time that we've been out, we're doing very well.
That's great.
I think it's wonderful.
And this concept of more and more content, do you see that ending?
What's wrong with these people?
Yeah.
It's like, do they understand you have to produce this stuff?
Yeah.
It's not like an Instagram video. They're so angry. They're mad. They're like, what are you doing? Where's another episode? I'm like, it comes out once a week. That's not enough. They're very
Like
mad.
fiending.
Can you tell me something? When you talk about haters, are those like trolls, people who are just haters
it's a
for
lot
just
of them.
hating? It's not...
Yeah, I think those always existed in life, and now they have an ability to just type stuff publicly for people to see. So
Are they trolling after they watch? So they watch and then they troll. So they're adding to your numbers.
Yeah.
I've noticed more haters when I first started than I do now. Like, I think
that's
it's also because you build a loyal like in the beginning I just wanted to cry myself to sleep, and I'm like, why is this happening? Like, why are they so mean? But then I would notice that it's more on them than it is on me, because the things they would say would have nothing to do with the video or nothing to do with me as a human. Like, so I would respond and be like, why are you so mad? Like, or, I'm sorry you had such a hard day. And then they would respond with, oh my God, I'm so sorry that you saw this. Yeah, I did have a hard day. You know, my
They
mom
responded.
did this.
Yeah. I'm just in
Right.
my basement and my homework is
Suddenly you kind of you
I'm like, oh,
right.
you're
Nice.
it's
You
sad.
humanize
Your
them,
life
yeah.
is sad right now, and you're putting that on me. So that's whenever I see things like that, I don't even take it to heart, and I honestly like don't see it as much anymore. And I think that's more so you build a loyal following and a loyal fan base, and they'll do the work for you too, like
Yeah,
without
they'll
even
type
asking.
back.
Yeah.
They'll reply for you, and then
They'll filter your comment section. They'll be like, Amanda's great.
It's true. I mean, followers actually, because I know even from my show, we have people who had been real lovers of it, and still to this day, they'll tell the public what's going on, even if I'm not telling them, they're telling them. It's interesting how they'll help to kind of lift you up.
Yeah.
You know, so it's great. Really wonderful.
Well, one thing I explain to a lot of influencers is like, if you have 1 million followers and you get 1,000 comments, and then one of them is a hater, that's not even 0.0001% of the people that's hating, and then that person probably just wants your attention anyway. So
funny how
I
that's
can't
the
even.
one that stands out.
And when people comment, they either going to comment
But
to
it
say they
doesn't.
love it, or they're going to comment to say they hate it. You're not going to type for no reason. So for them to do it, it's either out of love or they're going to do it to be out of hate. So when they're doing it out of hate, there's something underlined in them. And what I used to do, I don't comment anymore. I haven't in years, but what I used to do is I just like, you do it, and they just can't reply to that because they can't do what we do. You know.
Yeah, and I think it's also people do it for attention too.
Yeah.
So anytime that you're responding all the time to them or addressing them, they're like, "Ha, got him." So it's like for me, if I see it, I'll either just scroll by it, block the person, or just like I'm like I don't need like all this hate or negativity on my page. I'd rather just block the person and then have.
It's not going to make a difference in your numbers. You know?
I'm very interested in this because influencers, it's an emerging kind of art, actually, that's really now out in the public. So when you initially started as a YouTuber and all that, how did people respond to the idea when they started recognizing you as an influencer? Was it like, that's really cool? Or did they think that was something that wasn't authentic in terms of being in the industry? And do they see you differently now? Clearly, you guys have been doing other work. So when did that transition happen from it just being something on the side to being something that was...
I think when the internet became more accepted and more accepted as a platform, for example, when the Netflix came out and when YouTube became like more of an accepted platform and not just this weird place to put videos, then people was like, wow, I want to be a YouTuber also. I want to do this also. So when it started to become that, then everybody was like, well, now you can't find someone under 15 years old who doesn't want to do what we do. Right. They want our job. That's their all
Yeah,
over.
they don't want to be
Right.
an actor and like on
Yeah, they don't
it's
wanna
not
be-
really in their because they're watching everything is like right here.
Like this is what they want to do. So now this is the top tier of where they of what they believe it is. So when we go out in the streets, I can't even go to the supermarket, without you just can't even move anymore. One story I said when I was at the American Music Awards, I saw David Hasselhoff, and because I grew up on like Knight Rider, Baywatch, and things, I'm looking at him like, oh my God, it's David Hasselhoff.
Right.
Babe, I want to get his autograph. I was scared, and I won the award. I'm with the American Music Award in my hand, and he was like, "Hey, man, me and my girl, we watch your stuff, man. I love you, man. Can I hold your award and take a picture with you?" I was like, "Me? I want to take a picture with you." So I think it's all about what you watch and what you come up on and you're a fan of. Even with old school rappers and stuff who are not even relevant today. Like I saw a rapper that I grew up on. It was this group called De La Soul, and I saw him in Macy's.
De La Soul, not relevant. All right, we're gonna edit that out, but keep going.
Well, no, I'm not saying they're not relevant.
But
I'm just talking about the
different
kids.
time.
Yes, right.
But the kids today don't know who De La Soul
Right.
is. But I love De La Soul. And I was hiding behind like the coat section because I wanted to get a picture with Plug One. And then
Creepy.
these other kids. Right. Oh my God. But then it made me realize that's how the kids look at me because while I'm looking at him with some kids behind looking at me and I'm like, so this is what it's like, So I think it's all about what you come up on, who you see as a star.
Right.
And if the kids see us as their TV stars, because this is their television, these telephones. So if they see the cell phones as their TV stars and we're their TV stars, that's what they want to be.
Right.
It's like we wanted to be the TV stars back in the day. So that's the analogy that I see.
Yeah, I think it's crazy because for me, I always just I like to know as much as I can about my audience as possible. I just learned so much that way, and it even helps me produce content. But every time like somebody walks up to me to take a picture and I notice they're really young, I'm like, oh, who's your favorite actor? And they'll name like you, hopefully, or they'll name like another YouTuber or something. And I'm like, do you know who Angelina Jolie is? Because I love Angelina Jolie. I think she's amazing. And they'll just look at me blank. They're like, no, is she on YouTube? Like, they're...
What's her channel?
Yeah, what's their...
But you know what? That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Because it used to be, when I started in the business, right, you had film. Everybody aspired to that. But, that was the smallest audience because TV had the widest audience. You could be on a television show in one day and be seen all over the world. But now it has been replaced. The biggest audience actually is the internet, and it is your phone and your computer. I find that to be really interesting.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's also made it so we're global, I guess, celebrities. I don't know what you want to call us, but...
That works.
Yeah, I know.
Global.
Yeah, but it makes it so even if I'm going to Sweden or if I'm going to Italy, if I'm going to Indonesia, I was just in the Maldives, and the people on the islands, there's like 500 people that live on an island, and they're like, oh, Amanda. I'm like,
Isn't that amazing?
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like...
It happens like that's how it is in Hawaii, Jamaica. No matter what small island you go to, like they're like, oh my God, wait, baby, don't do that. Or like, okay, this is great. Like they didn't even have to go to they know your work, wherever you go, and it's bigger there than it is actually. Actually, LA is the most free place you can be.
Yeah.
When you're walking around and stuff.
Right, because they're so used to
it.
celebrities,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's a different, totally different.
Is celebrity and being known by anyone at any time and not knowing who knows you, is that all upside or are there downsides to it?
There's downsides because you can't. Some people don't have an ethic of
Boundaries.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
So like I could be on the phone arguing or talking or eating and something, and they approach you, and I'm the type to take a picture with anyone, but it's like, can I finish this spoon of soup? Can I finish this
How
conversation?
about when they follow you in the bathroom? That's a
Oh.
good one too, right? Can I go to the bathroom by myself?
all the time? It's like this a little weird for me,
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think it's just personalities too. You'll run into people that are great and run into people that are a little off, but it's fine. Like you still find yourself being like, all right, it's cool. They support me. Like, and they watch my stuff, so it's fine. I was on a plane and there was this guy sitting next to me, and literally the 5-hour plane ride.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was
Staring at you.
the whole time, and I was like, all right, I think he knows me from somewhere. And then I walk off the plane, and then that's when he walked up to me and asked to take a photo. I'm like, you should have just done it at the beginning of the
Right, because
plane.
you were really squeezing me out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little. And I think another issue is the fact that because a lot of our content is shot, not in big studios, but in our homes. So they feel like they're in our homes with us. So they feel like they know you. It's like, hey, man, what's up? When you coming to my barbershop, bro? Here, take my number. I'm like, no, I'm not. We're not homies, Or they'll walk up to you and just hug you like, yeah, man, I love you. And it's cool. But in their mind, we're like friends for years. But
Right.
in my mind, you're a stranger, And
Sure.
and it's cool at the same time, but it's a little weird. You get used to that. That's the one thing you have to get used to, is knowing that people are looking at you like they straight know you. Especially if you're a vlogger, because I did vlog for a few years, and when you're a vlogger and you're telling your life every day, oh my goodness, I'm not vlogging.
I definitely see way more positives than negatives to it. The fact that they feel so invested in your career as well and in your growth too, that your success is important to them because they're a part of it. And they're the reason why we've been so successful and why we're continuing to grow in multiple different verticals.
But the positive definitely outweighs the negative
for
tenfold,
sure.
100%. Yeah.
Well, this has been a really fascinating conversation.
There's
Amazing.
so much more.
I know.
I think it's riveting. You guys are really, I said it earlier, but it is amazing to hear your stories and to see what you have actually created. And it's wonderful that you came to be with us today.
And we're on the front side of it. And so watching this unfold in real time and being some of the originators of how this is going to play out for my daughter, who's 9, as an example, what her world's going to be like when she decides that she wants to do media, which she's already talking about. And of course, I'm saying no, but at some point she's going to overrule me and get into it.
Yeah.
And you all are really crafting that path. So
Thanks.
it's amazing to watch, and we're cheering you on from the sideline.
And thank you all, because I would have never in a million years thought that we'd be partnered with SAG-AFTRA.
Yeah.
It's great.
To do something,
Yeah.
it's like, wow, this is crazy.
We love having you in our membership. And my daughter, who is my youngest, who's a singer, who's putting her stuff online, I talk to her about look at what they're doing, and they joined the union, and
Yeah.
I just think it's what you guys are doing is authentic from beginning to end.
Love it.
So thank you.
I think it's really exciting too, because I've noticed a lot of the younger generations are so interested in doing good, and they're a lot more knowledgeable just because of the access to the internet, whether it be in things we want them to be or not, but they know what's going on, and they're so smart, and it's able to give them a platform to want to do good, to inspire their friends to do good. So it's like so much opportunity there. And I'm seeing a lot of the responses from the younger audience really wanting to be involved in that. So your daughter could be the one that's really inspiring her friends too, like on social media. It's not all bad. Like there's
No, there's
stuff
good
out there.
leadership.
There's a lot of
Absolutely.
good
Yeah.
out there. There's a lot of good out there.
That's been great. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you both.
Thank
both
you.
for coming in.